So, a couple of young blokes walk into police headquarters saying they can help with what is a $2 million a day problem for the Kiwi retail sector. It's not the start of a joke, it's the beginning of a Kiwi success story that has propelled Auckland company Auror into a position where they are instrumental in helping to streamline the way retail crime is reported, solved and, perhaps most importantly, prevented. Co-founder and CEO Phil Thompson says that after seeing a story on just how much retail crime was costing, he and his co-founders became intrigued at the prospect of using digital technology to help police and retailers confront the problem together, and Auror was born.
Auror is a crime intelligence platform, so we digitise the entire crime reporting process. So taking the crime reporting from hours down to minutes, and in doing so we get 2 to 4 times as much data on crime in our communities. And then we start connecting the dots on repeat offenders and organised retail crime. And we can then provide the right information to the right people through real-time alerts and notifications. So we help retailers report, solve and prevent crime.
Thompson says that one of the challenges facing the retail sector was a clunky reporting process and all that went with it.
What we found was when you were reporting a crime, it wasn't just as simple as calling the police. The retailers also had to do other things like report that information back to the head office. They would call up or email through other stores, and then they would have to go and do gathering evidence, so video footage and everything else. So there's 4 or 5 different processes that they were doing, but it's often always the same information. So we looked at how do you streamline that whole process and go do it once, and the right people can get that information and then utilise it.
Those New Zealand retailers that have come on board have been reaping the rewards.
They have seen over the last few years reduction in their losses of financial value between 20 and 50% for a lot of those companies. And we're talking tens of millions of dollars that's being saved. But there's also a big element around safety. So you've got the safety of customers and staff. Sometimes these incidents are violent, so how can you actually reduce and prevent those crimes happening? And then also, how do you foster a better relationship between police and retailers, and you're getting better outcomes for the whole community?
Getting retailers working more effectively with law enforcement is a big part of what the Auror team strives to achieve. After a mixed initial reaction from police, which Thompson says was understandable, they quickly embraced the idea.
They were going through their own journey and process around bringing new technology in. And now they're on this journey of providing better service delivery to the community. And as part of that is how can they work effectively with commercial operators and retailers who are having these problems. I think the cool thing for police is that as a country and as communities, it's going away from reporting a crime to the police and expecting them just to deal with it. It's actually making this collaboration piece and partnerships work really effectively. And I think it's going away from saying, here are 10,000 incidents we've reported to you, what are you doing about all of those things? And going, here are the top 10 people right now who are having the biggest impact on our communities. How can we work together to try and stop their offending? And also, how can you provide a different outcome to the offender themselves, rather than necessarily just going to jail? How can you use this information to understand the trends and the patterns and get in there and prevent it and provide a different response to that crime?
It's not just about retail theft though. Thompson says shoplifting and other low-level crimes can go unnoticed and underreported. But what Auror has helped to show is that this is often gateway offending.
But what we've found is that these low-level crimes are linked to much more serious things. So a lot of the offending is really organised, and it's going towards organised crime groups, drugs, and it can actually go up to the more serious crime as well. So we've seen offenders involved in that low-level crime who are later then wanted for kidnappings, aggravated robberies, and even murder. So you're providing this information intelligence to the police to be able to have an impact on those serious crimes. But it is that 80-20 rule in play here as well around crime. So it's that last year, for instance, 11% of the offenders caused more than 50% of the total value being taken from retail.
Auror promotes a partnership between themselves, the big 3 of the retail sector, shopping centres, petrol stations and big box retailers who have the highest volume of crime across the country, and the police.
we've signed a first of its kind national partnership agreement with them, and that allows access to all police officers at no cost to then actually work and create and build a network around the community, being retailers and police, security guards, anyone that's actually out there trying to stop and reduce crime, to work together, and you're getting these really good outcomes.
With Auror software helping to reduce theft reporting from hours to minutes, theft prevention was the logical next step. Z Energy have been rewarded handsomely for their involvement with Auror, reducing losses at their pumps by more than half.
So we worked with Z Energy around how can you integrate with new technologies like license plate recognition, so that you could provide and pair intelligence with that. So rather than just ABC123 has arrived on site, we can say ABC123 has arrived. This Rawdon drives the vehicle, he works with this other person. Last time they were violent, so don't approach them. It's being really smart around that and providing better customer service, in fact, because you're not attacking or alleging something's actually occurred. And what we've found for people like Z Energy, in the first 12 months, they reduced their losses by 55%, while actually increasing their customer experience.
While Auror has saved an estimated $750,000 by having the business founders pitch in with their skills rather than pay other experts, there's still the ever-present need to secure funding. After a first fundraising round supported mainly by family and friends, a wider net needed to be cast for not only funding but expertise and advice. There was Trade Me founder Sam Morgan, K1W1 and the New Zealand Venture Investment Fund. A couple of years ago, the group got in touch with Westpac-backed Australian investor Reinventure.
Yeah, we approached Reinventure in 2015 when we saw that they just launched their new fund. For us, it was exciting to be involved with, firstly, an Australian investor to get that scale, and secondly, someone who was looking at providing more value than just money. So for us, that was potential introductions to their customers, but also that trust and credibility around having a large bank on board would help us with our enterprise customers too. Any external funding, it's hard initially to have those discussions, and importantly finding the right fit. For us, we're really lucky with Danny Gilligan from Reinventure and how he really took to our ideas and how we seamlessly started working together. I think that for us, it's one of the more important things is not just around the money and the advice, but actually how can you work with your investors, your advisors and your directors to get the best outcomes.
Moving into the Australian market has been a key step in Auror's plan to conquer the world. There's now an office in Melbourne, and a number of top 30 ASX customers are on the client roster, and they're seeing extremely good results. It's also given the team valuable insight in how best to scale up their New Zealand experiences. So, with New Zealand and Australia under their belts, the Auror team has already begun discussions in the US, and Thompson says the excitement is the complexity of the larger markets and the fact that no one is approaching organised retail crime in the same technology-based and collaborative way.
Yeah, the US for us is an interesting market because it's so much more complex, and the problem there is probably even larger than what we're seeing anywhere else. So they've got a real focus around organised retail crime, and this is the groups working together, targeting particular products and going across multiple retailers and stealing millions and millions of dollars every day. So New Zealand, we're lucky we've got one national police force. Australia has 7 or 8, and the US there's about 18,000. So it's a lot more complicated, which for us is actually a good thing because our customers have to interact with these different agencies every day. So how can you make that collaboration happen online? And for us, it's actually how do you encourage your customers who've already got these relationships to bring those together and online. So for us, it's actually about focusing on our retail customers, and they will naturally bring in their contacts around policing, and that will have a bigger impact for everyone.
So what has been Auror's recipe for success, and what's next?
The key factors for success for us is the team that we've got, the advisors that we've got in place. And I think actually starting in New Zealand has been a really good thing. If we'd started this in a larger market, it would have been a real struggle to get up and running and prove the concept. New Zealand's big enough to prove out across the country how it can actually work, and then we can then scale up from there. And there's also timing, I think, is always involved, where we've been lucky that the police have been going on this journey in New Zealand and all around the world around how do they partner better with other companies and agencies, and then also how can they continue delivering better for the community and use technology to do that. I think our ambitions for the company is all around how can you build the best possible product to solve this problem and give the best possible experience to our customers and our users. Ultimately, the more that we can help solve and prevent crime, that's what gets us excited.